6:30, we'll call this meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All counselors are present, and I will defer to you for all the adjustments to the agenda.
All right, we do, for those that may be watching later on the internet, we do have several changes to the agenda tonight. The first one we're going to do right away, and then after the next presentation, I will inform everybody of the other adjustments, and then we'll roll through the agenda. We're honored this evening to have RSU Superintendent Todd Sanders here, RSU 16 Superintendent, and he's going to update us on the budget world concerning the land of schools. Todd? Here? Yeah, and just push the button.
That I often brought with us tonight. As I said, when I first arrived in the district, my goal was to try to keep citizens, select boards up to speed on everything RSU 16, especially when it comes to budget. I'm not sharing a budget with you this evening, but I am sharing the foundations of our budget process. And I wish I could say that I was bringing good news to the towns tonight, because I put me up for it. I should say that first, because I'm headed to mine it after. But it's we're facing a challenging budget season this year, and I'll explain why as we do this. So with all three of our elementary schools and the health and safety of students and staff in those buildings. So HVAC is a significant concern, and that's something we need to tackle. The second page of that handout that I provided to you it gives us an opportunity just to see some of the good people that we have in RSU 16, and we have some very, very good people in RSU 16. Dedicated staff, community that supports us, great engagement, and schools that provide a climate that's very supportive, and certainly we want to work to maintain that. That's our goal. I traveled up to UMF today with several former UMF grads, and there was a career fair up there. We have 58, I think, UMF grads that are working with us in RSU 16 right now, and there was a picture of them all, and it was good to get up there and interact with excited new young educators. So we want to continue to do that. A third page gives you the enrollment of our schools as of January 30th. So you can see the total district enrollment is 1,654 students as of January 30th. The next page really I want to emphasize this page. I'm not going to read all those things to you. You can take those and read them. And as anything, if you have any questions after I leave, you can send them to me. You can send them to me. They can send them to you, and you can send them to me, or anyone listening or watching can reach out to me as well. This just emphasizes the work that has happened over the past year or so. And it's the hard work of a lot of people who did community surveys, who stepped up and served on a task force to explore different options that the district could pursue moving forward with our three elementary school situation. So to recognize that hard work, I just need to continue doing that, because a lot of that started before I arrived here in the district. The next page is I guess we're on page 6 now, would be the scale balance. Really the challenge that we face, creating safe and healthy learning environments for our students, which is fixing our three elementary schools, but also maintaining growth and educational opportunities, and that's staffing them. And the district has done a pretty good job of staffing our schools. The focus now really has to be on fixing them and creating an environment that's safe and conducive for learning. Okay, budgetary factors that we have no control over. The state of Maine releases the ED 279, which you've probably heard of. It's the state funding formula that says how much the state will support public schools throughout the entire state of Maine. The RSU 16 this year saw a reduction of $750,000 in state subsidy. Mary, who's here tonight, did some digging and has found that that is the largest reduction in state subsidy in the state of Maine. So our community saw the greatest reduction in state subsidy. Why? What are some of the factors that contribute to that? Valuations increased. And when that happens in dollars, when your valuations go up, oh, you're capable of affording to cover more of the cost of education. So immediately we start with a $750,000 behind. Our economically disadvantaged students have decreased. That's another funding formula. So that number's dropped to 11. Our enrollment overall is decreased, and the number of students that you have contributes to the funding formula in getting more financial support. And we had a reduction in some tuition students that we're paying, so that it's not a large amount, but it adds up. So we lost an additional $23,000 in tuition students. So that was the first piece of bad news we got. If you go to the next page, though, what can we do? Now, that doesn't help us in this budget cycle, but what are some of the things that we can try to do to address these things that we've seen? One of the things that we've noticed is our numbers in K increased pretty significantly from our pre-K numbers. If we could get those students in pre-K, that would help us. So we're doing a survey to find out what is keeping pre-K students out of our schools. Pretty good idea. It's the fact that we don't offer 5-day-a-week pre-K. But we are going to survey kindergarten parents and see what was some of the factors that kept them from being in our schools in pre-K. Our homeschool enrollment numbers are significant. We're 140-ish students that are homeschooled. That jumped up pretty significantly, as you can imagine, during the pandemic. But the kids didn't come back. Now, I know there's been changes in immunizations and things of that nature, which could be a factor, but we're going to reach out over the summer to those homeschool families and find out what is the reason that they did not return to us after the pandemic. So that's something we can do. The way that the economically disadvantaged numbers are generated is through your free and reduced lunch forms. That it may be an impact on those forms getting back to us. We really need to educate our stakeholders that those forms are important because the ED 279. So even though it may not be something that is necessary, still has an impact on them down the road if they don't fill those forms out. There's also an alternative economic disadvantage form that we can use. We're going to implement both. Get that information, get as much accurate information as we can. And then the other thing that really hits us is our class sizes. The district prides itself on small class sizes, but when you have class sizes that fall under the ratio of the ED 279, that impacts you as well. So those are some of the things that we're looking at through the ED 279. If you go to the next page, other factors. There, school revolving renovation funds. We had a company, EMC, who did 7 applications for us for our schools, either HVAC or ADA compliance. The hope was we would receive some of those revolving renovation funds, in which the state assumed 60% of it, and the district assumed 40%. So we were very optimistic and very hopeful that we would be getting revolving renovation funds. We submitted 7 applications, as I said. We received 1. It was the last amount awarded, the very last project that was awarded, and it was not for HVAC. It was for ADA compliance at Minot, a little over $100,000. So that was our second thing that hit us that we were really surprised by. Neighboring districts got anyways between $6 and $8 million. HVAC was supposed to be one of the things that they were looking to acknowledge or to recognize, and we don't understand why our applications weren't received better, I guess is the best way. And ours didn't score where we'd hoped they would. So another thing, that's 2. Here's the third one, the carry forward amount. Last year, the district opted to carry forward $1.5 million. That's unsustainable. These funds that have been spent, and those fluctuate from, you can't just bank on there being that total amount. So As we've started the budget process, I've cut that in half. So there's another $700,000 that you see coming. That's starting line again. So we're over $1 million before we when go to the next page, it goes balance. And it just shows the work that has been done. I mentioned it earlier, the new positions. You can see positions that were added in fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24. We've done a good job with that. I have told administrators to not bring me any new positions this year. So there will be you will see no new positions built into the budget. That also means we lost some positions. You may wonder, how do we lose positions if we didn't have them brought into the budget? Through the pandemic, we received federal grants that we could use for staffing. And the final, the ESSER 3, the final of those federal grants ends this year. And we had positions in that grant. So I had to have some difficult conversations with some staff already and let them know that we would not be bringing those positions out of the grants into the local budget. It's not a savings, but it's not an increase. And then you can see on the other side, the capital improvement plan work, the amount that was allotted to be spent, and then the amount that was actually spent. The CIP is another area of concern because we got into the position we're in right now by allowing our buildings to get into this shape they're in. So our goal moving forward is to keep our buildings where they need to be. The next page shows you the 3 elementary schools, and that became very apparent that they're held in a special place in the hearts of the people in those communities. So families, generational families have gone through the halls of those schools, and the school board had a difficult deliberation. They had a difficult decision to make as far as moving forward. I'm sure you're all aware, the discussion was to either close Minot School or keep all 3 elementary schools open and fix them. I should say it's not on a slide here, but going back to the terms with the ED 279, I did reach out to our state representatives and senators to make them aware, and I reached out to the Commissioner of Education. I did get a response back from the commissioner. She was going to ask her team to go back and recalculate just to make sure there wasn't. Sometimes there's a calculating error, but to make sure there wasn't a calculating error, she was going to look into the revolving renovation stuff. I've not heard back from her. That was about a week or 2 ago. I'll give it till the end of the week probably and then follow up. But I did want you to also know that we are sharing our concerns not only locally, but throughout the state. The next page shows you the total HVAC cost. And I know this was a concern last year that came up when there was an attempt to get a bond. If you look, you can see the school is broken down with the amount associated next to it. Poland at the top, 2.21 million. Minot, 2.47 million, and Elm Street, 2.75 million, for a total HVAC cost of the $7.43 million. The recommendation I made to the board before they were making their decision after consulting with the admin team was that I thought it was in the best interest to tackle the 3 schools simultaneously. I worry about perception if we start to prioritize one school or another. That doesn't mean the work will all be done simultaneously, but it does mean that the work would begin. So that was the recommendation that was made to the board. The board went with that recommendation. And they voted to maintain all 3 of our elementary schools. Now that what they're debating or discussing, I should say debate, what they're discussing is what is the best way to fund that moving forward. Could it be a purchase lease agreement? Could it be local funds, which I don't think is possible, or could it be a bond? I know the board is, and Mary, you can chime in, but I know the board really wants voter feedback. So even if they were to go with a purchase lease agreement, the desire is to get feedback from the taxpayers and the voters if they decide to go down that. Looking at all the numbers to find out what would be the best, would have the least impact on taxpayers to get the projects done. The other thing you have to add in that next slide is the interest, because obviously there's interest over a period of time. We're looking at 20 years. That would be a $2.76 million interest. So that total number, and I think this is where some of the frustration occurred last year, the total number we'd be looking at would not to exceed the $10.19 million. And then the last page is key considerations for you. You know, I don't need to read those to you, but it's investing in our students, investing in our schools, streamlining the project to the best that we can, getting our buildings up to where they need to be, and then maintaining them moving forward so we don't find ourselves in a similar situation as we do right now. We really just need to provide healthy and safe schools for our students. So that's the big ticket item, that 10.2. The A team is meeting, the administrative team, excuse me, is meeting tomorrow for the first time. So that will be their first look at populated. They were populated over the February vacation. So tomorrow we will roll that out to them. So I don't have numbers for you because obviously the numbers that we start with will not be the numbers that we end up with after we go through the budget development process with the budget committee moving forward. So as soon as I have those, I will certainly return to you and share that information with you as well. So we're in a difficult place. You really are when you're starting already over $1 million behind the starting line. Anything you want to add, Mary? Did I covered it all?
I have a question.
Yeah.
All right, your HVAC totals, are they upgrading existing systems? And what would be the longevity of the life of the improvements?
I can get that exact,
So is this complete replacement or just a modification of existing?
in
system?
most cases.
Complete replacement. So this is the biggest hit that you're going to get in the next 20 years or so. So, you know, that's where you're going to get most pushback from people because they won't understand that.
Right.
So you need to push that with the general population that this is the year, but we're going to recapture these expenses coming down the road. And that's where you need to emphasize that to the people.
I think well aware of that.
Right. Board meeting needs to talk about the phasing of it, when we're gonna do these processes. Definitely mine is our priority. Go back up. Use that boiler. So, that's definitely our priority, but because of project, we not even a summer project. Another year. It's a long-term project.
So you're basically looking to replace the energy output and not necessarily all the baseboards throughout the unit, not the forced hot air systems throughout the unit, are you?
It's replacing.
Yeah.
Entire system.
So it's a complete new install for these numbers.
For some
Elm
buildings.
Street School, there was already been done there that they could tie into, but mine in particular would be a complete.
Is there a potential for a recapture of existing appliances such as, you know, the heat sources in the rooms? And just trying to approach replacing the boiler? And, you know, just feeding what you have existing out in the field?
We've talked about that, but
Talked about it, but distribution systems are flawed. So, you know, we have a new boiler with plenty of heat and it's, so we would have a new boiler with plenty of heat, but it's going to be distributed unevenly because the distribution system is also, needs replacement. So just replacing the boilers is not the answer. And, we need some improvements to ventilation in order for it to be a healthy place for our kids.
I got a quick question. It's probably a stupid question, but I don't know anything about these. See, Poland, how old is Poland school, high school?
the high school. It's not the high school. It's
How old is that? Is it?
I did an addition on the back of that. It was
It was built
20
in the
years ago.
fifties and.
It was?
Yeah, and that's the issue with,
All of them.
you know, they've all had some additions to them. I mean, Elm Street's had 3. So, you know, they were all built about the same time and then they've had additions built at different times. So there are some parts of Poland that, the community school that are newer, but
Yeah.
the original
on that
building
back
is
section.
not in.
History.
I do.
I'm just throwing things out here that, you know, a lot of this stuff is you remove and replace a baseboard unit. It's still the same baseboard unit. If you need an extension, you add an extension on that as far as output. So, you know, trying to give you ideas where you might possibly
Yeah.
save some money.
Yeah.
Trying to augment the stuff out in the field and then go for your big push to get your energy or your boiler up to whatever standards, you know, run from that 70% all the way up to 80 or 82%. That would be good, you know, and concentrate on your source rather than the delivery, because your delivery is not going to change a lot, but it represents a lot of man hours to take that pipe out and replace another baseboard unit in there or a ventilation, which should be fine. I mean, you should, if you're maintaining your ventilation system, if
We
you're,
don't have any.
if you're,
Yeah, there's, in some cases,
There's
there is no
nothing.
ventilation.
all right, so you're running.
One of the
closely-
problems is you take like Elm Street School, because I know my wife was down in the bottom, right? Like, it's been hodgepodge so much that it's not a central system. Like, this has been added on, and so like they would be sweltering in the summer or whatever, and they couldn't even, they had no ventilation whatsoever. Right, down in the lower end. And so like the upper end may be getting fine. So what I certainly see that it needs a total upgrade. Now, I do understand that you can save a penny here and there. It's one thing to do it in your house, but it would actually probably cost more in some instances to try to save money than it would. And what I personally do, I understand, but this is a big project. And so I certainly, you know, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like the numbers. Nobody likes these numbers. And there's nobody out here that likes these numbers. But I don't know. I mean, I do understand from the perspective of my wife working in that building that it's not a whole system anymore. And the ventilation is an issue with COVID and all that we've gone through. Ventilation is an issue. You have to have clean air. And we don't, and certainly in pockets of these schools.
And, you know, as Daryl says, there are different buildings that are hot, and then there's some that are cold, and some of that has to do with what Sunny was talking about in terms of different additions and different heating, the way they solve the heating problem. But you're right, there's not in any of those 3 buildings one consistent system. It's a hodgepodge.
I thought the Sun Journal had an article about how some individuals came up with a way to make it cheaper and work just as good without spending $10 million. Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we have certainly had lots of conversations with lots of people about how to solve this problem. Part of what we want to do is we want to put an efficient system in that's going to last, so that we're not looking at this every 5 years. We're looking at it 30 years down the road. So some of those solutions solve some of the problems. We're looking to solve the problem.
No, you're.
So it doesn't solve the whole problem. It just is
Similar to what has-
proportionally
it's similar to
solving.
what has been past practice in many ways.
Okay.
I have one last question, because I was a general contractor for so many years. Yeah, you obviously must have looked at segmental control of each of the different parts that are failing. And have you looked at that and tried to come up with instead of one massive system for the whole? Because even the hospital doesn't run one system. They do a segmental system for each of their units that are part you know, they call it a consortium of buildings, but each one has its own segmental control. Has that been broached at all? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
They would
don't have a problem with
they
that.
would
I love to do
yeah.
that. That's what I do.
Yeah, and John Hawley would be, he would like to have you take
I'm
those
glad
kinds
to
of
help.
questions
As
to
simple
him,
as that.
because he
You know-
does have a deeper understanding. and he
You know, I
could-
just
could
got done
answer
working
them.
for an engineering company, so, you know, I just like to look at things and come up with reasonable solutions that are cost effective.
Oh.
That's what I try to do.
That's certainly what we're looking for too.
Thank you, Mary.
So unless there's anything else, and if there are, please ask questions. Todd does have to move on to Minot and redo this entire presentation for the Minot board this evening as well.
Do you have any other questions?
Right, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, so as Todd gets ready to ride off into the sunset, I believe we'll do the remaining adjustments after the executive session based on the agenda. So I think, Madam Chair, that we are to the point of asking for a motion for an executive session.
I make a motion for executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A personal matters.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you. Yeah, we're moving into my office.
I don't want to take us out of executive session.
I make a motion that we come out of executive session.
All those in favor? Well, it is with deep regret that I need to resign from my position here in the council. I no longer live in town, and to be completely transparent, I needed to let the council know. And according to the town charter, this disqualifies me from being on the council. I only had 3 months left, so it will only be a few months until you can fill the position, or maybe even next month. So thank you for having me.
So, I think we're all very sad by what just took place, but we do have a meeting to do tonight. So, Daryl, you are vice chair, and that automatically makes you chair for the time being, um, until the June election and the next organizational meeting. How we move forward from this is entirely up to the council. As was discussed, your charter, and I'll read the entire section so that way the world knows exactly where we're at. And let me back up to the section. Under section 2, 3, it says D, filling of vacancies. In case of a vacancy caused by death, resignation, or other cause, the vacancy shall be filled at the next regular municipal election for the unexpired term. Tarsha's term ends in June. So that sentence, that part of that sentence does not apply to this particular situation. The next sentence says, the council shall fill vacancies in its number occurring between regular municipal elections by an affirmative vote of at least 3 members, and the term of office of any member of the council so chosen shall expire at the next municipal election. So what this in effect means is that here we are on March 4th. The next council meeting is April 1st. During the month of March, at this point in time, the council will be accepting nominations to fill Tarsha's remaining term till June election. And so if anybody listening out there has any interest in applying for that position, you can either get a committee application online or stop by the town office and see Janice or myself. And we will have this on the April 1st agenda for the council to consider at that point in time. Does anybody from the council have any further thoughts or suggestions in moving forward? Hearing none, seeing none, then that's what we'll do. Adjustments to the agenda. We have several tonight. So a lot of stuff came in last second. The American Legion would like to do games of chance. I believe they want to do some sort of cribbage tournament or something like that. Janice she has the paperwork. And so technically, I believe that we need to do a public hearing on that. And so I would like on 6-1, public hearings for American Legion, games of chance. And then 7-1, ordinances, resolves, policies, and licenses, American Legion, games of chance. Further adjustments to the schedule.
With that one, don't we have to make sure that the public has notice because it's a public hearing?
So, it would be best practice to do that. If you think that anybody may have any objections to the American Legion, certainly we can delay them until April. I just received this, at 2:00 this afternoon? And
They already have, some kind of games of chance with the.
Would it fall under the same thing like the liquor?
Yes.
Yeah,
they
would this-
have
Would this fall under the same thing as the liquor license, where if somebody's had a license for more than a couple of years in a row, that it just can automatically be renewed?
So we don't come preloaded with every bit of possible information. Like I said, we got this afternoon. Am I trying to push this through? Yes. Do I see it as a big issue? No. But you have every right to say, oh, we need to give 5 days notice for a public hearing and all of that. Assuming we're to do that, then either we need to hold a special meeting sometime during the month of March for this, or to put it on the April agenda. I will leave it to you guys to decide how you want to
Can we just
proceed.
get a little more information? Is it a cribbage tournament?
It's, she did say it's not a tournament, that's a different license. All it says on the actual license is cards and cribbage.
Cards is a lot of things. Could be Texas Hold'em.
No, because that's a different one,
Uh,
and that is listed as a different one.
All right, I don't know.
So I'm totally cool with waiting until April. We got it this afternoon. That's all I can tell you.
I think we should wait till April.
I just because it's last minute, they could have brought this sooner. Like, I don't feel it falls under us to push it through where we don't know everything. I'd hate to do something and then be like, oh, well, golly, I didn't know it was that.
Understood.
Did ask about tournament. She
Right,
said-
yeah, no, for me, it would just like a little clarification.
So
I feel bad, but it.
So then
Done.
X-nay everything I said about 6-1 and 7-1, okay? And we'll deal with it on the April agenda, assuming that they do want to move forward with it at that point in time. Further adjustments to the agenda would include 14.2, main power options / Constellation. I am currently looking to lock in the 2 remaining town accounts with the CMP charges. And I would like the council to entertain giving me discretion to sign whenever I think we need to, because these things change every single day. And if I find an opening, every Wednesday, they send me an update of the latest. Right now, the pricing is actually below all the other accounts that we're locked in at. And this would be for us and the water company. And Jake and I are in conversations about all of this as well. So that would be 14.2, asking for permission to do that. 14.3, Jeff is here tonight because we have a PD cruiser bid he would like for you to approve, and we'll go through that as 14.3. And unless somebody else has any further adjustments, that's what I have for you. So I need a motion to add 14.2 and 14.3.
I make a motion that we modify the agenda as presented and add 14.2 main power options and the permission for signing by the town manager, and 14.3 to look at the PD cruiser bid and potentially vote on it.
Any seconds? Any discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've been in church meetings all weekend. We aye. All right, thank you. So I believe we're down to any appointments or resignations besides what we got, unfortunately. You were good. So we're down to the general reports. Right.
Accept the minutes.
Accepting the minutes.
Or then, yeah, not general reports, accepting minutes.
Motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? And moved and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. I
Thank
got
you.
it that time.
Do we have to
Any
do
opposed?
the,
Sorry, we all voted yes.
do we have to do the public, the workshop ones separate from the council meeting ones? Or
I
they
don't
can
think
be
so. You
combined?
just, yeah.
That as accepted, so it should be good. We are all here, so, right?
I think,
Was we?
You weren't at the
I wasn't
February
at
5th
the
one.
February meeting. That was the budget meeting.
Nope, we're fine because you weren't at either of them, so
Okay,
you just can't vote.
Okay.
So, read.
no vote for me. Still doesn't make sense. All right, so department monthly report, 9.2.
I make a motion, we accept the department monthly reports as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand.
thank you.
Any public comments? For online? Nothing online? Any council comments?
Our police and our public works people continue to be awesome. We should be very happy we have them. Thank a cop or a public works person when you see them on the streets, please.
I guess the only thing I would say is I thank Tasha for all of her hard work for the past
Yeah.
few years and getting to know her and sitting beside her. Our respect for her is just tremendous. And I really do appreciate all that she's done. I don't usually do these comments, but I think it needs to be said that Tasha's done a wonderful job and wish her nothing but the best going forward.
Second.
And I appreciate
Wasn't
her
mentioned.
being honest and transparent with the town.
It was hard. Unfortunately. Any other comments? It's time. Picks on with this town manager report.
Okay, I provided you all with another ARPA update. So we are getting down to the bottom of the barrel of ARPA dollars. And again, my goal is to spend that down somewhere between now and the end of summer. Another item, deputy town clerk search. So we have completed first round interviews. We will be interviewing 3 on Tuesday, March 12th, with the hope of having somebody in place by the end of the month of March. RHR Smith and Company, I signed a contract with RHR Smith, our auditor, to take over doing the auditing for the water department. Our current, former, water department auditor, if you recall, did not give us 2022's audit until 2024. And so they even fessed up that they're swamped. And they suggested that we have, where RHR Smith is already our auditor, that we hook on with them. And through a series of conversations, they have agreed to do that. And so that is a done deed, and they will be commencing the 2023 audit in the next couple of weeks. And we should have the final of that sometime this summer. One last thing that didn't make the list, this morning, around 8:30 this morning, we had the folks, Dylan came out from petroleum maintenance to do the all-important vacuum test on the storage tanks. Remember the story, in a bumper sticker fashion, by August of this year, we're supposed to have those tanks torn out, but the state has put up a alternate program that allows us to renovate and to modify them to get at least another 5 years out of them, if not more. And so we have set aside $43,500 of ARPA money to do this project. The project would not be possible without a successful vacuum test. So this morning's test passed with flying colors.
Yay.
Yay.
Hour.
Yeah, so yeah, out here, yeah. So so Dylan is going to work with me in setting up a schedule to complete the work that they now need to do to revamp and renovate everything. as an aside to all of that, also through ARPA dollars was the new fuel key card program that is in its place. And I don't know if all the kinks are worked out yet, but we're yeah. So the good news is instead of now having the data in Public Works, it is going to wirelessly appear on Lisa's computer. Welcome to the 21st century. So we do have movement with those items out back, which is good news. And that's all that I have for you. Snazzy, works good.
Incoming voter list, I didn't break it.
Need a motion to accept town manager's report.
I make a motion.
We accept the town manager's report presented.
I will second that, please.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Old business council's rules of order.
So as part of the ongoing discussion, I determined that these old tired eyes couldn't see very well the information from your bylaws. So I printed out new packets for everybody, killed a couple of extra trees. And so everybody can at least see a decent point size through this. Whether you address it tonight or table it or decide to move on from it is entirely up to you. But I did want to make sure that at least you had a copy that you could be a little bit more eye friendly. I turn it over to you folks.
Is there anything that we found to be in conflict with this in the past year that you can think of?
Yeah, well, so when I did this again a few months ago at this
Right.
point, I went through it with a very fine comb, wordsmithing. There are a couple of bigger issues in play. The whole agenda thing, basically for that, I just recommend just doing some, the words to the effect that the council works by an agenda. Instead of listing out all the different items of the agenda, that doesn't need to be in there.
Right, I agree with that,
You know,
because it kind of ties your hands.
yeah, because it can change at any point in time, right? Let me find it.
That's in the very back.
Thumbs work.
Yeah, so I have it as, it's about 2/3 into your packet, number 5, council procedure. And it's at the bottom of one page. You flip the page and you get the old agenda items, which again, isn't how we're conducting business. And so I recommend deleting all of that. And in my comments, change it to words to the effect of order of business. The business of all regular and special meetings shall be transacted through the meeting agenda. That's all you need. Unless you guys want more, but for me, that says it. And it gives you tremendous latitude and flexibility. It's basically saying that we do business through an agenda. So that would be one possible change I would make. And I guess, Mr. Chairman, I think, if I may, one of two different ways of doing this. Now that you guys have a bigger point size, you can either table it again and take this next period of time and study it.
Personally, I'd like a little more in-depth time to study it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like
Yeah.
scanning it quickly. I don't see anything
Yeah.
that I have an issue with, but at the same time, I know that I hate to. Personally, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I'd hate to just say, okay, let's do this and then get down the road and
Yeah.
change it again.
Yeah. Well, it's a living document, so
Right.
it's meant to
No,
be
I know
changed.
it is, but it would be nice. I think the last time it was changed in 2012,
22.
22. All right.
Yeah.
But before that, it was 12 to 20 and then 22. So it'd be nice if it lasts at least a couple of years.
And then with your permission, what I would do at the next
I would
meeting
put this on the
is go
agenda.
through all of my proposed changes. You guys can either agree or ex-nay. And then any other changes that any of you have to
Right.
toss into the kitchen sink,
Right.
we can deal with at that time. Does that make
I
sense?
think if everybody does their due diligence and looks this over, I mean, if they don't have an objection, then we can just say we accept it as
Yeah.
presented, but I mean, I just personally, I just a little overwhelmed tonight with
Yeah.
all that's going on.
Right.
Take time to make notes.
Right.
So take a motion to table?
I make a motion that we table this again.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you.
Want to discriminate against left-handers? All right. New business? Or is there any other old business? I guess it doesn't matter if it's not on the agenda, right? New business. We have 14.1. Flooring quote, you want to tee it up?
Yeah, so you all have as a part of your packet, the flooring quote that we got. Again, based on a meeting that the Fix 108 committee had, we decided to take a look at updating the flooring out here because we've got duct tape on the floor. And I had them look at upstairs and the I don't know what you want to call I guess the landings to the upper floor. And we,
Sorry, just a second. Was that a supplemental one or is that in the
It's
agenda?
on the last page of the packet.
Okay, all right, good. I just need to find out where I needed it. I got it right here.
so what they proposed, and again, so based on information from the committee,
Right.
it was determined to really work with a trusted commercial vendor. And Royal Flooring does a lot of commercial stuff. They did the Lewiston City Hall. As a matter of fact, what they're recommending for us is essentially what they did for Lewiston. And so in their quote is basically pulling up the old, putting in the new stuff, both out here and upstairs in Jeff's world and on the landings in between our worlds and down at the foot of the steps. And so the replacement tile would be slip resistant. And for the vestibule out here, the doorway entrance, right now we just have old carpet on the floor. They would put in cement down Berber in there. And so basically it includes, other than dealing with the wood flooring, because we have some hardwood flooring upstairs. It doesn't deal with that. That would be a separate subject, but it does deal with the tiling as indicated. And so I bring it to you guys tonight to see if you want to approve this quote and let me get working on it, or if you want to go back to the drawing board or whatever the case may be. But this is at least a start.
So this gets rid of all the carpet that's in the
No,
hallway?
it just gets rid of, this is just for the hallway, for the outer hallway.
Not
You
not in this part, but out where the public walks.
Yeah.
It's for where all the
Hazards.
public walks.
All the trip hazards
When,
out there.
when you step outside the door here
Yes,
and you look down, you're going to see duct tape.
yes.
And so the committee decided as it's winter, this would be an interesting first project to kind of do it. And so if approved, the monies would come from the municipal complex line, of which we have sufficient money to do these sort of projects on Fix 108. And so,
So I do have a quick question. Would this handcuff us with the window project? Or is there enough funds for both?
yes,
Okay, that's all I want.
yep.
My concern is, as I read this, there's no mention of any kind of warranty on this work.
Oh, there is warranty. He gave me a link. He sent me a link. I'll forward you I think I already forwarded you guys the email, but I'll resend it out to you. And if you have any thoughts or whatever, but it does come with some sort of basic warranty. I don't remember what it is at this point.
I'd just like to have that spelled out.
Yeah.
Can you grab that real quick, Vic?
I can try.
Thank you. Where's the Berber at that we're replacing?
Yeah, see, my memory's so bad, but I don't look at things like that.
I
just
thought
stick
everything
on
was
my-
carpeted in this
No,
building
no,
except
it's
underneath
tile.
the table outside of the library. That
broken down.
tells you how much I pay attention.
In case we decide.
Like
to
where the
piecemeal.
public stands and talks to you is all the tile, right?
It is, and along the bottom of it, the basement part is peeling off. I have to see to keep it one day, glue it or do something.
It's a trip hazard. We're gonna get somebody that's gonna
No,
fall
I
down
think
and
it's
sue
reasonable.
us.
Same upstairs, where the table is and out where you go in the library is the heart of the door.
Right.
But through that threshold down through the bathroom, the elevator in my area was all tile like that.
That's why I'm not in law enforcement.
Oh, because they have the details.
Oh,
See, Jeff's observant. He knows what's going.
now if
That's
it's
part
about
of
a
his job.
plant or an animal, I could give you all the
I've been here
details.
long enough, the ghosts are afraid of me now, I'm not afraid of them. Tell everybody, the ghosts are friendly.
Yeah.
I got guys that don't wanna come in this building at night, cause they think it's haunted.
Is Rob officially gone at this point? Any prospects?
Now,
Sergeant, Scott?
Sergeant's here. Rob,
Rob,
Michael
Rob.
Rob.
Michael Rob.
Yeah, no, and the main chief, just in conjunction with the main sheriff, put out like a recruitment video to try and get people from other states to come to this state. But, I mean, they just put that out, but.
Expensive place to live.
It-
It is.
It is.
So I was wrong. I know we talked about warranties, but I thought it was in the email. It's not. So tomorrow I can follow up. I'm sure this is a decent tile, so I'm sure it's warranted. But if you want to delay the vote, you can do that, or you can continue.
I have one other comment here. Now, he's piecemealed the bid, the estimate on each particular location. It's kind of like à la carte.
I had him break it out that way
Okay.
because I didn't know, my basic question to him was, and I think it came from one of you guys, is there an advantage to doing it all at once or not? And at the end of the day, there really isn't. So, I mean, we can do this in chapters. As a matter of fact, that's probably how, assuming approval, that's how I'm going to do this. We'll do out here first, get that done, and then I'll have him do the going up to Jeff's World and do Jeff's World up there. And so it's in pieces because it's not going to cost really anymore. It's just time and materials, right?
I'm only concerned is that it's broken out this way and that if we dangled the carrot in front of them and said, okay, we'll do all 4 segments together, will you give us a discount?
Yeah, no, I fished in that
before.
pond pretty, I fished in that pond pretty hard.
You did.
Yeah, and
because I've
it's-
done that with
yeah.
him before.
Yeah, yeah. And he didn't bite. I'm just keeping it real. He didn't bite. And so, I mean, I could try again, but I think, when he says down here, that they're always, yeah, so
Oh, I know it is.
For me, as I've always said, I'm not the contractor guy, right? But for me, I don't know, you guys have much more experience. It sounds reasonable to me, but I don't know if it's reasonable to you guys. If it's reasonable to you guys, it needs to be done. I say, let's get her done, but I want you guys comfortable with it.
You can assure us with a warranty period of at least a 5-year warranty for wear on this, that's, I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, what you can do is
You can make that a motion.
Motion.
yeah. Yeah, conditional. And if it doesn't, then I will bring it back to you next month with more information.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal as submitted with the caveat that a warranty period needs to be enacted in along with this bid.
I second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you. And so that we're clear, the warranty period needs to be
5 years.
5 years.
Commercial-
At
Okay.
least.
Commercial needs to be 5 years
All right.
against all perils.
If it's unanimous vote, do I need to ask for an opposed?
Say again?
If it's unanimous vote, do I need to ask for opposed? Because I haven't been. Like when we're voting.
Yeah, so,
I haven't been saying those opposed because.
oh,
It's been
yeah,
unanimous.
no, no.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to be messing up my
Yeah.
first night.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Say it.
And I'll send out
I
again,
want the
because
pitchforks coming out on this.
because I do want to set up another Fix 108 meeting. And
Yeah.
so I'll send out information to you guys and to all counselors as soon as I have that. Worst case scenario, we talk again next month.
So 14.2,
Main power option. So again, trying not to beat a horse, but this is the shoulder seasons are the best times normally to lock in these sort of things. We rode the winter basically in some free market pricing program. And because it's been a soft winter, we did pretty darn good. We've been paying like 10 cents, which is just above what we locked into last spring. Right now, the pricing has been running about, we locked in on all the other accounts at 0.985 cents per kilowatt hour. And so the pricing I've been getting, it changes every week, of course, but it's been running from 0.95 instead of 0.985. So it's tenths less. So it's very attractive, and it's for our two biggest accounts here and for the water company. And so,
How many years?
well, what I'm looking to do is to match up these two accounts with all the other accounts, which would be November of 27.
then you can do one big one.
Yeah. So that way
Get 'em
it's
all the
not,
same.
yes.
That makes
And
sense.
yeah. And so that's what I'm looking at to do. And,
It's kind of interesting that they've not been in sync.
yeah, so honestly, I think there's a fair chance I lock in between now and the next meeting, but I got thinking, I really should get your permission before I do that. So I'd like your permission to do that.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the requested permission from Main Power Option to board power of signature to the town manager regarding the negotiated price of 0.95 cents.
Well, just to negotiate a price, just to lock
Negotiate the
in,
price, lock in at the best possible.
just to give the town manager permission to lock.
Because they might go up tomorrow,
Yeah.
not come down.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you.
14.3. PD.
Chief. You're on deck.
So you're going to have to use the mic, Jeff.
That's a new car.
Yeah. Car, sent out 3 bids, got one back. The other 2 companies didn't even contact me, no contact whatsoever, even though I had asked for them to contact me, even if they weren't gonna bid, so that I was aware. Never heard from either one of them. Doesn't surprise me, cruises are in short supply, they're really difficult to get, and prices are going up on them at all times. So, this price locked in from Quirk, Ford and Augusta. at 45, 284, 94 is the going price of them, and that's what I'd like to go with.
I do have a quick question. Do we trade the other one in?
There's no trade in this.
That's so we'll either sell it or whatever, or just we keep it?
Yes, this is,
Okay.
this is
There's an addition.
third car.
Okay,
This is
okay.
replacement.
Yeah, okay,
I would go from a total of 47.9 down to 45.
he's good.
I'm guessing that that is some sort of the dealers, manufacturers used to always provide an incentive, and it used to be a lot greater than. Yeah, it used to be a big chunk of money, but again, over the years, supply and demand, everything that's going on, that dealership assistance or manufacturer assistance kind of gone away. And he doesn't explain it, but I like the fact that it says 47.9, and he said we can get it for 45 too.
Yeah.
As
Is,
long as it's going down, I like it.
is this a normal car or one
Yeah,
of those
it'll be- It's
hybrids?
gonna be lettered up just like our other black one, and it's black, it'll be just like the other black one we have.
What is its source of energy? Is it
It's
gas?
yeah,
Okay.
I tried to get another hybrid. and can't get it.
The SUV.
SUV, 3.3.
All-wheel drive.
It's identical to both the vehicles we have as far as the outside look, except we have the silver one that's silver, not black, but it'll be, if you won't, I won't be able to tell you. It's black.
I make a motion that we allow Chief Goss to purchase this vehicle from Quirk Auto Group for $45,284.94.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have your old stuff.
No, I'm keeping it.
Will it be a stealth mobile? Is it gonna be a stealth?
No.
No, he's gonna have them blue lights going all the time.
The silver one's gonna stay the way it is. The black one will all be detailed and lettered up, so.
All right. Sorry, I'm not used to having this. Used to just follow along. All right, is there anything else?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, stand up. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff. Now that you're gonna get a new